At a holiday party, I mentioned the family reunion tomorrow. My brother laughed, "That was yesterday." My aunt showed me photos of everyone there. I left without a word, and they were the ones who regretted it. "Hey there, I'm Rachel, and I've always felt like the oddball in my family, not because I did something wrong, but because my success somehow made me the bad guy. Growing up in a middle-class family where money was tight, I busted my butt to create a good life for myself. I landed a scholarship to an awesome college, snagged a high-paying finance job, and now at 32, I'm doing pretty great. I mean, I'm not swimming in cash, but I'm comfortable. I own my house outright, travel whenever I want, and until recently, I sent my family money every month to help out. I never expected them to be super thankful, but I also didn't think they'd stab me in the back like this. Looking back, I should have noticed the red flags. My mom always favored my brother, Mark, the so-called golden child who could do no wrong. He hopped from one job to another, never owning up to anything, yet was somehow always trying his best. Meanwhile, I was seen as too serious and acting like I was better than everyone else. My sister, Lisa, wasn't much better. She was the queen of passive-aggressive remarks, always reminding me that money doesn't buy happiness, but she didn't mind cashing the checks I sent when she was behind on rent. And then there's my dad, who never stood up for me and just went along with whatever my mom said. Despite all this, I kept trying. Every holiday, I showed up with gifts. Every family dinner, I picked up the tab. Whenever they needed help, I was there. I foolishly thought that maybe, if I kept giving, they'd finally accept me. Instead, they showed me my place in the rudest way possible. It all kicked off at a holiday party, just a chill hangout at my parents' place. We were sitting around the table, feasting on my mom's signature overcooked turkey, when I casually mentioned how excited I was for the reunion the next day. For a moment, everything was silent. Then Mark laughed, "What reunion? That was yesterday." I blinked, confused. Lisa smirked, sipping her wine like this was the best thing ever. "Yeah, it was yesterday. Didn't Mom tell you?" I turned to my mom, heart racing, and said, "You told me it was on the 23rd. She shrugged, not even looking guilty. "Oops, must have mixed up the dates," she said. Mixed up? I wasn't some distant cousin they forgot to call. I was their daughter, their sister, and they had a whole family reunion without me. My aunt showed me a picture on her phone. Everyone was there, smiling, laughing, arms around each other, and I didn't even get a text. Mark grinned, shaking his head, "Wow, that's awkward. Guess we forgot to mention it." Lisa giggled, "Oops, my bad. LOL. Something inside me went cold. I put down my fork, got up, and left the table without a word. I didn't yell, I didn't cry, I just walked away. Because I knew this wasn't a mistake. It wasn't forgetfulness. They did this on purpose, and they'd regret it. I went outside, into the cold winter air, letting it bite at my skin as I processed it all. They planned this. They all knew, my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister. They looked me in the eye, smiled, and let me sit there like a fool. I pulled out my phone and scrolled through my messages. Nothing. No missed calls, no texts, not even a half-assed "wish you were here." A dull ache settled in my chest, but I forced it down. For years, I pretended their favoritism didn't hurt, that their cold shoulders didn't sting. But this was different. This was deliberate. A statement. I stood there, watching the snowflakes drift down under the streetlights. I should have just driven home and cut them off right then and there, but I didn't. I wanted to see how far they'd take this. After a few minutes, I took a deep breath and went back inside. The laughter inside continued like nothing had happened. I hung up my coat as if I'd just stepped out for a breath of fresh air. My fingers were cold, but I didn't rub my hands together. I wanted the chill to seep into my bones, to remind me of what they'd done. Back at the dining room, my family barely noticed I'd returned. My mom was slicing pie, my dad refilled his wine, and Lisa and Mark whispered to each other, grinning. I sat down, and Lisa raised an eyebrow. "Thought you left." I looked her right in the eye, my face unreadable. "Why would I leave? Just a silly mistake, right?" She gave me a knowing smile. "Of course, just a little mix-up." Mark chimed in, "You're taking this way too seriously. We didn't do it on purpose." I leaned back in my chair. "You had a whole family reunion. Everyone was there. You coordinated it all, food, drinks, decorations. Set a date, sent out invites. But not one of you remembered to text me?" I tilted my head slightly. "You expect me to believe that?" My mom let out a dramatic sigh, as if I was being difficult. "Rachel, don't be like this. It's the holidays. Let's not ruin the mood over a simple mistake." A simple mistake? I looked around the table, watching them all avoid my eyes, waiting for me to just drop it and move on, like I always did. But this time, I wasn't going to. So there I was, supposed to just shrug it off and act like I wasn't bothered. That's how I usually handled these things, but not this time. I casually played with my fork, twirling it between my fingers and said, "Hey, I've been thinking about all the cash I send you guys every month." That definitely caught their attention. Lisa sat up a bit straighter, my mom looked kind of panicked, and even my dad finally looked up from his plate. Mark, with suspicion dripping from his voice, asked, "What about it?" I gently set my fork down. "I just find it interesting," I continued, "that I help Lisa with her rent when she's behind, cover mom and dad's medical expenses, and even give Mark some extra cash for whatever he's up to these days. And yet, somehow, I wasn't important enough to get an invite to the family reunion." The room went silent. Lisa let out a nervous, awkward laugh. "Oh, come on, you're not actually mad about this, are you?" I didn't respond. Mark, however, scoffed. "Look, you're being dramatic. It was just a mix-up, Rachel. No one's against you, and besides, you're doing great. It's not like you needed the reunion, you have your fancy job, your nice house, your perfect little life." There it was, the envy and resentment that had been simmering for years, hidden behind jokes and backhanded compliments. I smiled back, but it was anything but warm. "You're right, Mark. I do have a great life." Lisa shot me a sharp look. "Rachel, don't be petty." I smirked, amused. "Petty? Like throwing a family reunion and conveniently forgetting to invite me?" No one spoke. Then Mark rolled his eyes. "Oh my God, you are so dramatic. You always have to play the victim, don't you?" He took another bite and shook his head. "Whatever, you'll get over it like you always do." I watched him, a smug grin on his face like he had already won. Then he said it, "Besides, I already ordered those new Jordans with the money you send me every month. You wouldn't actually cut us off over something this stupid, right?" The room fell silent again. My mom's eyes widened in surprise, her fork hovering in mid-air. Lisa tensed up, and my dad awkwardly focused on his plate. Mark just grinned. "I mean, come on, you wouldn't do that to your family." That was it for me. I set my napkin down, folded my hands, and smiled. "Wouldn't I?" Mark's grin disappeared as he waited for me to say I was joking. But I wasn't. The silence was heavy as they all realized what was happening. My mom started to say something, then stopped. Lisa shifted uneasily, gripping her fork tighter. Even my dad, who usually stayed out of it, finally looked at me with an unreadable expression. Mark scoffed again. "Oh, come on, you're not actually serious." I tilted my head, enjoying his discomfort. "You think I'll keep sending you money after this?" I asked slowly. Lisa nervously laughed. "Rachel, you're being ridiculous. Mark didn't mean it like that." I leaned forward, elbows on the table. "Oh? Then what did he mean?" Mark let out an exasperated sigh and tossed his napkin aside. "You're so sensitive. It's not like we killed your dog. We just forgot, okay? You're making a huge deal out of nothing." I nodded thoughtfully. "Right, just a little mistake." Then my mom jumped in, her voice sickly sweet. "Rachel, honey, we love you. We're family. Let's not let a simple misunderstanding ruin that." I looked at her hand resting on mine, then into her eyes, a mask of concern she wore every time she dismissed my feelings. And I realized, they weren't sorry for what they did. They were sorry because I was standing up for myself. I pulled my hand away. "You know, I used to wonder how this conversation would go if I wasn't sending you all money every month." My dad cleared his throat. "Rachel." I raised a hand. "No, seriously. Would any of you even try to smooth things over if I wasn't your personal bank account?" No one answered. Lisa looked offended. "That's not fair. We care about you." I chuckled. "You care about what I can do for you." Mark rolled his eyes. "Here we go again. Maybe we didn't invite you because we didn't want the drama." I raised an eyebrow. "Then you won't have to deal with it anymore." The air changed. My mom looked uneasy, my dad pretended to be uninterested but tightened his grip on his fork, and Lisa's mouth was a thin line. Mark just laughed. "Oh please, you won't cut us off. You're too nice for that." I smiled. "I guess you'll find out." Mark's face fell. I stood, smoothing my dress, grabbing my purse from the chair. The whole table watched me like I was about to drop a bomb. "Rachel," my mom said, teetering on panic now, "don't be rash. We're family. You don't just turn your back on family." I looked at her, expression unreadable. You all turned your backs on me a long time ago. With that, I walked towards the door. Wait, Lisa blurted out, scrambling up from her seat. You're not actually serious, right? You're not really cutting us off. Man, the house was so stuffy, I felt like I could hardly breathe. As I glanced back, trying to sound as cool as I could, I said, "Enjoy the shoes, Mark," and walked out, shutting the door behind me. Just as I reached my car, my phone started buzzing like crazy. It was Mom, but I just let it go to voicemail. Then Lisa called, ignored that too. No big shocker, Mark rang next. I laughed to myself, shaking my head as I slid into the driver's seat. He didn't waste time, huh? I wasn't even out of the driveway when his text came through. Okay, very funny, message received. Can you send the money now? I just rolled my eyes and put my phone on silent. The drive home was like a breath of fresh air. For the first time in forever, I felt free. I didn't have to be the nice one anymore, always forgiving and putting up with their nonsense. I was done, but apparently, they were gearing up for round 2. By the time I got home, my phone was blowing up with messages. Lisa was like, "Rachel, don't be so dramatic, family is family." Mom chimed in with, "You don't mean this, we raised you better." And Dad, being all cryptic, just said, "Call your mother." Then there was Mark, sending so many messages for a guy who pretends he doesn't care. His usual mocking stuff at first, like, "You're really cutting us off over this? Unreal." Then came the real kicker, "What are you gonna do, blow all your money on candles and fancy pillows?" His last dig was, "Fine, be petty, whatever." But soon enough, the tone changed. "Hey, listen, I kind of need that money, like soon." I snickered, thinking, here we go. He'd already spent on a new TV, a PS5, and a laptop, expecting I'd cover it like usual. I took a slow sip of my tea and kept scrolling through his messages. "You're seriously not answering? This isn't funny. They're going to charge my card tomorrow." I nearly choked on my tea, finding it hilarious. Mark, the guy who always thought he was untouchable, was now in real trouble because he'd lived confidently thinking I'd always bail him out. Another call from Mark came through, but I let it ring. Then another and another. Eventually, he sent a message, "Pick up the phone." I was grinning now, feeling a weird sense of control for the first time. They thought I'd just roll over and let them gaslight me into thinking it was my fault. But, they missed the memo, I was done being their ATM. And Mark was about to find out exactly what that meant. I put my phone down and kicked back on the couch, ready to enjoy my evening. Let them squirm, let them panic. I wasn't their safety net anymore. Mark always had a reckless streak when it came to money, but this was a whole new level. He'd maxed out his credit cards, banking on me to swoop in and save the day like always. With the reality starting to hit him, he was spiraling. I couldn't help but shake my head while scrolling through his list, a brand new TV, PS5, and laptop, plus those expensive shoes. Knowing Mark, he probably went for the fanciest versions of everything, assuming it didn't matter because I'd foot the bill. Settling in to maybe zone out to some TV, my phone lit up again with another call from Mark. He was nothing if not persistent. I ignored them all, but then a message from Mom popped up, "Rachel, call your brother now." I scoffed, "Oh, now she cares? How convenient." Another message followed, "This is serious, he's in trouble. You need to help him." I took my time, sipping my drink, before considering even responding. Lisa chimed in, "Okay, I get that you're mad, but you've made your point. Can you just send the money now? He's freaking out." I smirked, sensing their panic starting to crack. Mark messaged again, "Rachel, if you don't send the money tonight, I'll be in trouble. Do you get that? I can't pay for this." "Oh, I got it all right." I let another few minutes tick by as the messages kept rolling in. And then, the one that really cracked me up, "Rachel, please." Ah, there it was, the desperation. After letting that one stew for a while, I finally decided to call him back. He picked up instantly, finally, "Rachel, what the hell? You've been ignoring me all night." I leaned back, all relaxed, "Oh, I saw your messages. I was just busy." He was frustrated, "Busy doing what?" "Relaxing," I replied coolly. "Rachel, you don't get it," he pushed. "No, Mark, you don't get it," I said, my voice calm but firm. "You just assumed I'd keep paying for you. You didn't even ask, you just spent money you didn't have because you thought I'd bail you out again." Silence followed, then he laughed it off, "Oh come on, you're really this mad over some dumb reunion? We forgot to tell you, big deal. But now you're punishing me for it? That's insane." I shook my head, "No, Mark, this isn't about the reunion. It's about me being done being treated like a walking ATM, done being lied to, done being used. He got all defensive. Used? Oh my God, Rachel, you're so dramatic. You're acting like we're stealing from you. We're family. You have money, it's not like it's a big deal to you. And there it was, the entitlement, the audacity. I chuckled, wow, you really don't see it, do you? Sure, here's a more casual version with additional details. Wow, things got pretty intense. So basically, I was being told I was totally unreasonable, but honestly, I figured I didn't really owe anyone anything. I was helping out before because I wanted to, but hey, I don't feel like it anymore. So when he freaked out about already spending the money and being unable to return everything, I just shrugged it off. Not my problem, I said, staying calm despite his panic about his account overdrafting at midnight. He couldn't believe I was letting it happen, but I stood my ground. He tried to pull on my heartstrings, begging me one last time for help, but it was the same old story I've heard before. I reminded him that he kept making bad choices, hoping I'd bail him out, but I was done playing that game. Even when his voice cracked, I barely felt a shred of sympathy. Why? Because every time I tried to fit in with my family, they'd brush me off, laugh at me, or treat me like an outsider. I decided it was their turn to figure things out. My phone blew up with calls and messages from my family, trying to guilt-trip me into helping. I ignored it all, even after my brother sent a threat, saying he'd show up at my place. And guess what? He did. Mark looked absolutely wrecked at my door, pleading for a discussion. But I wasn't budging. I told him again that he's not entitled to my money and reminded him of the reunion where they all treated me poorly. His response? Calling me a selfish brat and trying to make me feel small. I didn't flinch, just told him to get off my property. Even though he left fuming and full of threats, I felt pretty peaceful, knowing I finally stood up for myself. My family bombarded me with more messages, especially Mom, asking what I'd done because Mark was so mad. But I shut that down for good, messaging the family that I was done being their personal ATM. Life got quieter after that. My family stopped reaching out, and honestly, it felt nice and peaceful. Then, out of the blue, Mark messaged me saying he'd messed up and needed help. But I was over it. No anger, no guilt, just freedom. I deleted the message and went on with my day, feeling like, for the first time, I was actually living my life for me, without any strings attached. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. And hit the notification bell to stay updated with more crazy real life stories happening around you.